Test. Can you all hear me? Hello, am I coming in clear? All right, for those that are with me, sounds like the audio is good. Chris Varley doing late day Q&A for trade ideas here. Dan, how are you? Let me know. Am I coming in? I'm coming in clear. Sounds all right. All right. Something. Seems I had something happened with my audio over the weekend. I was having trouble in the stream earlier. All right. So some mix, some good, some bad on the audio. All right. I'm gonna go with. Hopefully, it's good now. Some mix, some good, some bad. I'm gonna go with. So, all right, you all know the drill. Go ahead and start firing away if you have some questions. If not, I'll drum up some stuff for us to go over, some charts to look at, some interesting thoughts. Take a look around the horn here. Not a real active day from my list here. Some of the things that came through, they had a real early fast pop and then real fast drop afterwards. So interesting day, considering that the market kind of trended all day. Dow's down slightly, which I didn't even realize. The SPY is up a good little bit here after gapping down, and same on the Nasdaq. So, interesting day. Do I have an oversold RSI scan? I don't. We could look at something together. We could attempt to build something. So let's see. Let's go to new alert window. Bring that over. Clean out some of these filters here and start from complete scratch, as I like to do. So let's see here. You're looking at RSI daily. So there's our RSI daily filter. We'll add that filter, and you want to see oversold. So let's go with say a maximum of 35, right? Does that work for you? So show me stocks where the RSI is no more than 35. Just entering the parameters would be simply searching for the RSI filter that you want. Oversold is semi-subjective, I guess you could say. So like I said, we'd come here, search RSI, and you got the daily there. Window specific filter. We put a max of 35, so we're saying that we don't want to see them above 35. We can add some other parameters. Let's look at stocks in between, I don't know, $4 and $100. Does that sound all right? Throw out some numbers if you don't like that. Um, do we want to see it's up on the day? Do we want to see it's down on the day? We could say, all right, so we like the price range. We're oversold, but let's say we're up on the day. Let's say we're up 0.25% on the day so far. So we're oversold, but we're moving in the right direction. Let's try to look at some stocks that are pretty liquid. Trying to think what's the best way to do this for us on this. Let's look at volume. And maybe we'll throw an average 5-day filter in there. All right, and let's say we're doing 500K a day. And let's just, for fun, we'll put a 1 on the relative volume to make sure we're at least at the average over the 10 days on the relative volume scale. And what else could we do here? We got that. Well, we need an alert, right? So let's search for doing a new high on the day. We're catching them breaking the trend, I guess. Let's see what it looks like. We're going to name this here. Oversold daily, all right? So we're stocks in between $4 and $100, averaging 500,000 shares a day the last 5 days. Relative volumes at least 1. I want to see stocks up at least 0.25% from the close, and the RSI is no more than 35. Mike C, how are you? Welcome. I checked out that video you had sent to me. I wish I knew more about options, but very interesting stuff from there. And here we go. There's our scan. Let's take a look. The last alert that would have come through just a moment ago. Chewy. Nice. Having a very nice up day so far. Wonder if that alert might have come through earlier in the day. So let's take a look at the history and today. Yeah, I won't lie, Mike C. I am an options novice, to say the least. But my capacity to learn never stops, and my wanting to learn never stops. So I'm sure at some point I will make my way into the options world, at least for some base knowledge. So let's see some of the stuff that came through this. WRK. Happens to be a Holly alert too. Isn't that interesting? So got that alert early here. 47, 46, somewhere. It's right where she entered it, isn't it? Yeah, right about where she entered it. And, there's some alpha on that for sure. BVNT. And not so much on this one. Literally caught the top on this one. CLDX. I suppose we could say there's some alpha on that one, but very, very whippy. So 4660. I know it caught it at the top here, so nothing on that. Sorry. I didn't realize it was going to catch it all the way at the top of that wick. So never really got back up there again. But, this is the base of a scan where you can start. So 1734 made a nice move afterwards. KLIC 49 and change. Had a short run up afterwards. Never really put you in much. Well, yeah. I mean, down here it fell, but it recovered the whole thing afterwards too. So take a look at a couple more of these, and then I'll save it and share it. and you go ahead and start to manipulate it and make it your own. So 93.95. I had a pretty solid alert off that one. Now, keep in mind, the market was up today also. So this is a scan that's going to have had the market on its side. So while there's some certainly good looking alerts in here, we have to consider those things too. 921. And not much doing after that. I was really curious to see if Chewy had come through earlier, but it doesn't look like it as of now. And it looks like another Holly alert from today, so she went short on it. 63.95. Another nice alert from that one too. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to set this back on real time. And then I'm going to go ahead and save or share to the cloud. And as always, please, 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 if you decide to take this scan, you want to open it, load it, save it to your cloud immediately. Because once in a while I go through and I clear out my cloud from things I have no idea why it's in there, or things that I don't really use, to try to keep my cloud somewhat organized. And I'd hate for you to not have it saved and then be looking for it later from me. You got it, my friend. Now, if you're looking to do more kind of like scanning for stocks to put on a list, there's two things you can do. Obviously, you could let a scan like this run through the day and then run back through its history and see what happened. Or you could create just a top list and do it like I do with my evening scan, and do the same thing we just did with the top list, and then run it after run it after the market and just get a list of stocks. And this way you don't have to run the alert all day long. That's kind of one of the purposes of my evening scan. So I don't have to have an alert running all day long. That all I want is the end of the day data. And that's what the top list gives me. If that makes sense for you. So that would be my suggestion, one as an alert list or as an alert window during the day, maybe active that you're looking for moves during the day. And if you're looking for setups for the coming days, I think that's where top list is much more valuable. You don't have to run it and use resources all day long. At the end of the day, boom, there's all your data. Go chart by chart, however you want to do that, load a CSV file, whatever works for you. And that's how that goes. So let's see, learning how to track hedge fund option. Flow seems to be interesting, possibly worthwhile. I won't disagree with you, Mike C. I mean, I know there's I forget the name of the program now or the software. Man, I can't believe it eludes me. But anyways, it has kind of a similar idea between what you're talking about and a level 2 look, maybe Bookmap or something like that. I think it's called something like that. Some interesting stuff. Someone showed me some things about it, especially for futures trading with ES and NQ. And there's some really interesting stuff they showed me. But again, because my knowledge is limited there, my brain's bandwidth is also limited on it before I get overloaded. For Bollinger Bands, yeah, I mean, I would start you at, deciding whether or not you want an alert window, meaning it has to have some kind of catalyst event, new high, pullback, some kind of pullback, some kind of range break, or if you just want a window that's going to simply filter the stock, filter for stocks based on their filters. That's it. No alert or anything like that. We're just constantly updating every 30 seconds or it's time-stamped alerts. So, we can come to tool or go to new, and we go to this. For this one, we'll do a top list. All right, so I've opened a new top list. And what I always do, like I said, is I come here to the window specific filter first, and I just get rid of those. This way I don't have to redo all the columns that are here. I just leave what's kind of there. Maybe there's something I don't want. Maybe there's something I do want, but clean that up like that. And then we come to search and Bollinger. All right, and here are your choices. This is it on it. We got 4 choices: daily, 60, 15, and 5 minute. All right, so let's say for example you're looking for a position in Bollinger Band, 60 minutes. All right, we add the filter, and we come here to the show me function. And we can start to put in values. Where do we want it? We could say map a minimum of, let's say, 50% and a maximum of, let's say, 150. And so this is telling us now, show me stocks for the price between 50% and 150, way above lower, lower Bollinger Band. And then from there, you're going to ask yourself, well, what are the things that matter to me? Do I want to see the stock is up or down on the day? So, we can come here and let's say we want to see that it's up on the day, 0.5% from the change from close. We can search volume. I want to see that it's doing some volume over the last, let's say, for example, 30 minutes. We want to see that it's 200% of normal or doing 2 times normal. So it'd be 200%. And that's kind of the direction that I would start to send you in. What's your price range? We'd go $5 to $100. Is hopefully this is helping us kind of clicking and making sense, giving you an idea. I don't really use Bollinger Bands, to be honest, so I don't have an input on what you want for them, other than they're going to work like any other moving averages. Things that are extended in general at some point will pull back to the mean. Things that are obviously well below, same thing, will pull back up to it. In what time frame that actually happens, that's the trick, of course. So let me know if that kind of helps. If you have some parameters that you'd like to add, we could throw them in here. We could put something together real fast here on my screen. Then I can share it and you can save it to the cloud, just like we did with the last alert window we were just playing with there. So let me know if you've got anything you want to throw in there. I'm going to label this Bollinger. And if you want, I can share that out with you, at least as a template, and you can go back in and start to mess with it a little bit. And like I say, I don't keep Bollingers on my my chart or anything like that. And like every other indicator, if it works for you, by all means use it. It was just something I never got into. I kind of just I fell into EMAs and SMAs, and even those I've eliminated 90% of them. I just, like I said, I really run 2 more or less, and I like a position in 20-day range. Right. So that the same kind of concept then, pick your time frame on the Bollinger Band, and then, like I said, you can use this middle thing here, the show me function, to figure out where you want to be on that Bollinger Band, above or below it, essentially. So I'll go ahead and save and share this to the cloud, and you can take it and make it your own. But when it comes to something like, is this really extended? Is this, really below? Those are things I can't answer, since I don't really use Bollinger Bands in that sense. So, all right, looks like that kind of got you answered there. And again, fire away any other questions. And, for everybody else that's in here or just kind of popped in, it's an open forum on questions. I prefer questions based on the software, trade ideas. But, we can go over chart or anything like that. You take a look, actually, nice day from the AI here. I know kind of on the percent, it's kind of wonky how it shows that. And that's, if you're taking these percents here, so you have this one that hit a stop, minus 8.45%, which kind of skews that number, but you add up in the actual profit column here, and pretty solid day actually in conservative profit. And now starting to look a lot better in the moderate too. We can see here with a profit save there, much better looking here at the moment than what that profit save would have done for us on IONS. And not too shabby of a day. And that's why we have stops. Now imagine if you didn't have stops on these things, all right? What could have happened to you? So, go back into, dive into these. So let's take a look at what happened here. So, take a look here and bring over my drawing tool. And see, we get the entrance here on this candle. Move up over about 30 minutes, and on this candle wobbling down, Holly decides that she's going to make that profit save, which in hindsight at that time would have felt good because nothing is worse than having a stock fall to here after having been up. So you all just excuse me one moment. I just got to put myself on mute for 30 seconds. Thank you. All right, sorry about that. Um, so hindsight trading, it looks like it's a good, a good exit here from her. We bounce here again, move almost back to that range where she actually exited. We toe the entrance again before making that move up again. So, you know, you don't want to play those games like that. And that's why we have our rule sets. That's why Holly has her rule set. She wasn't going to win or turn into a loser. And that's why she exited that way. And then, of course, Holly's rule set isn't necessarily your rule set. So that's why I look at a conservative and moderate spread. And as always, please forget about aggressive. Aggressive is absolute garbage and nonsense. Pretend that never exists. Aggressive means trading without a stop, which isn't trading, it's gambling. So that was that on that. It stopped out here, FUTU. Take a look at what that looked like on the day here. So she went short. Short was not the way of the market today. Pretty good sizable gap down there. Move right back up. And, she caught it on this wick where it looked like it might have been falling again and came right back up and got her out. Looks like almost immediately. So entry time, exit time. Just a few minutes there, not even 3 minutes. So that's what happened. In hindsight, again, it looked good because you would not have wanted to be looking at a stop there and stock trading up here with your entrance way down here. That'd been pretty uncomfortable to have been way up here and short from down here. And, she comes down and tags the entrance again, but never really gave you profits at all. And we can see in the max profit column that it never gave you profits. So again, having not managed this trade well, Holly, with that stop, you would have been looking at a really massive loser in that column instead of just a $100 loser. And it's $100 only because I base my share sizing for her in this exercise off that stop loss. So that's why it would have been 132 shares based on that stop loss, and why we would have come out ahead overall on profits today. So again, just, really pound home why stop losses are so important. I haven't made any updates since, I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I didn't even look at it today. I've been involved in so much other stuff. I guess just 2 alerts. Oh no, here we go. So this is what came through it here. Take a quick look. That didn't work out very well. That looks like it worked out pretty well. First Bancorp did not work out well. So it's amazing. This thing back tested so wonderfully. And in all honesty, tomorrow will be, I think, 1 week I'm running it and not looking so great in live trading so far. That was an all right one. Again, didn't work out well. I'm in profit, but not much there. The spread between winners and losers isn't huge on this either. So, and that looks like that turned out to be okay too. So, mixed spread on that today. So we'll see how, like I said, we'll see how it takes over the next couple of weeks, what the market gives us. Yeah, no, of course. The data set forward's taken over 60 something days. So just having, 6 days of data, doesn't really allude to what we're doing. And of course it's a long scan. So it's going to help that the market's got to be on its side to help it, or at least a smaller chop than some of what we've seen here. Bringing this out, we've been on a bit of a roller coaster. So, and I'll say the last third of the scan is where you see it starts to really get, not as nice. And that's all this data in here chopping around. So we were to get a nice trend up, I suspect that scan will also look much nicer than it has the last week or so. Get rid of that SPY chart. And again, if anybody's got questions, fire away. Take another look. Let's see. So we looked at one Holly loser. Let's look at a second Holly loser. And it was another short. So we get the signal coming in on this candle, downward momentum. And she looked like she might have been nailing it. It looked like it was going to be a gap and crap. But it came, that was the support line on the day and a hardcore reverse afterwards. So just kind of stayed right above that. So, an unfortunate move. Could have gone either way for her. Her algo saw it one way. And, stop loss is there to protect us, and that's all there was to it. So, trying to look to see if there's anything significant about that line going back in time. Do this, right click, mark up, horizontal line. And it looks like it's going to coincide right with that. So I don't imagine that's any happy accident that we see this line as a big deal over and over and over and over. And although it pokes its head there, couldn't really hold it above there. So I don't think that's any coincidence that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas of significance with number 6 today right there. So that is technical analysis, 101 right there. So that covers for losers really. This was a reduced risk. Z, was that Zillow Group? Yeah. And same thing. She reduced risk. Big gap down here. All right. And looked like it wanted to continue down right to here, because banging on this level. But again, look at why this is a significant level here. So let's get rid of my drawings. We're going to put in a line, and I can already see where it's going to go on the daily chart. We're going to line it up for everyone's eyes here. And again, that is no happy accident that met right there. So you can better believe that everybody and their brothers, sisters, and mothers that trade were looking at that line. And you might even call it now a possible double bottom setup on the daily chart. We'll see. There's very beat up chart coming from these highs up here, but any stock could turn around at any time. Is this that point? Your guess being as good as mine, but front row seat for tomorrow, maybe taking the opposite side of some of Holly's pain in the days moving forward. Certainly sets up a nice gap fill potential here, especially if we get the market back on our side. So something that someone might want to mark up and make interest of it, maybe takes out the high of today, starts to move towards that 90 range. Doesn't seem unreasonable. Doesn't mean it will do it, but certainly a setup that is possible and not out of the realm of likeliness. So, and again, I'm just kind of going through some different stuff that Holly did here. So if you all have any alerts that you want to look at or charts you want to look at or something you want me to demonstrate with the software, please, by all means, fire away. And so, sorry, just checking out something. That cross alert that I went over, it's attached to something which is buying one share at a time with no commissions. And it was, I think, up just 1 point today. So interesting. First winning day for it since its inception in actual trading. So just interesting, a little bit of data that came in. Maybe we'll be able to go over it a little later. Disney, yeah, sure. Let's look at Disney. Happiest place on earth, right? Unless you're the parent spending all the money. Such a sloppy chart. You run into these things, all these big funds trade it and huge float, and for it to have such a big float, and look at this trading range at just right from there, $40 range from February to middle of March, and it's a pretty solid range. It's It's a big line right there. Not very well drawn, but that's a huge line right there. The low of today, just outside the low of today, and just continues to bang on it. I would say that, obviously it's one of those ones that's going to trade more with the market too. You can get the market on your side. Um, Winter months start to come into play. Are people going to travel? Are they not going to travel? From the north down to Disneyland World, whatever the heck it's called. Um, it's going to big effect on the earnings. Their merchandising, all those things like that. Kind of looks lower to me, but I don't get paid for my opinion, and I'm certainly no chartist. But I just kind of feel like it's heavy and wants lower. We can take this for whatever it's worth, and we can see a short growth here, 16.15%. There's nothing to report on the short float, but it looks like that's on the increase slightly. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. It seems like every time it tries to make a move up here, rejected. So, rejected all across here, and now it's getting rejected at lower levels. So you're making lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. You wonder how many times can it bang on this here. So is it going to be steel? Is it going to be glass to break through? That's my thoughts there. Those are your lines. Nothing special or technical on any of that. So curious if we break the next level of resistance. No, you don't have a crystal ball. I mean, the market's up today. The NASDAQ's up, where the SPY is up, the RSP is up, the Dow is down, but not by very much. I mean, 0.1%, and this just couldn't get out of its way. But you can't reject the fact that, or you can't discount the fact that this big gap down moves down all day and bounces right here. And it's not like we're having some massive bounce in the market at this point when it happened. This candle that's coming in to close the market right now. I'll bring over a SPY chart. Disney bounced without the SPY, really. The SPY had this candle that just came in here at the very end. So, stick saving a beauty for you hockey fans. That's what I'd call that. I'd say if it gaps down below that tomorrow, then you're looking at 160 as that next real level. I know we can say right here, but that we can call a whoopsie and really more part of this major level here at 170. So that's kind of my 2 cents there for whatever that is worth to you all. Show you some decoupling that I was watching today. Bring up my sector list, and we can see LIT was a gap and go, pretty solid today to say the least. We got a little sell off here at the end, but I mean that was pretty beautiful for most of the day, right up until we get here just before 3 o'clock. Two stocks that I watch in coordination with that a lot are LAC, which you're going to see this chart just craziness right here. I mean, I don't know what that was about, but that, completely decoupled from the LIT. And then LTHM here, something similar, but this one came back for a while and didn't quite see the pain. And the pain was more spread out over a few candles, where an LAC was in just one boom candle. And this one came down and bounced here. Got rejected off 27 again. Now what's interesting here is you're looking at all-time highs. So we took out all-time highs on that today again. So we'll see. Are we setting up for the next leg up? My bias is to yes. But again, just my opinion. So I like this in here. I like this here and this here. So I like the setup that we've got going on here. I like that. Nice, beautiful deep cup. Nice wide handle. All right. Lithium ion, it's not necessarily new, but the way it's being used is new with EVs and, a lot of players in that space. And so this is how I kind of play the EV plays more or less with that. So just interesting stuff to see how, you can use an ETF sector list and it doesn't doesn't mean that a stock's going to do anything. Like I said, as we can see, LIT was up and off to the races all day long, right up until about an hour ago. And like I said, it gave a little bit back at the end, but that's nothing to sneeze at. That 3% move in an ETF like that. So again, if anybody's got questions, fire away. Happy to demonstrate things, go over anything we like. We see here from my liked list, some deep green, some deep red. So this had been a darling for quite a bit. I was lamenting last week that I liked it on this day, but I didn't get it, and I just couldn't buy it here and couldn't buy it here. If I couldn't buy it here and here, I certainly wasn't buying it today. So we'll see if these quicker momentum averages kind of catch it and can pull it back up, or is it just going to blast right through them? A newer issue, so it's something you always got to concern yourself with. You can see that there's a massive bet building in the short growth there. So who's going to win that one out? And again, same kind of thing, lithium ion. So exciting stuff. Some exciting issues. So good stuff to look at as far as that goes. So it'd be nice to see maybe at Nestle, this moving average catches up, kind of wedges in the price action and makes another shot. Obviously, that being the all-time high since it's a new issue on that day there. Something definitely to keep watch of. Very liquid stock right now, 4 million shares traded today, and that was about 2 times what it's normally doing over the last 10 days also. So, you can see these real down days in volume here and through here. You get a couple of up days, and it really dies down. Then we get some bigger days, something in between. We're doing about double that right there for these days. So, short and skinny of SLI, the bottom of my liked list. But I suspected today that it was going to do something like that. No crystal ball, but that's just very extended. That's all that looked to me. This was a darling from last week. Great Holly alert too. Something that I suspected with this today. Same kind of concept. What goes up must come down. So that's one side of the list. But some good green coming through this list today too. And again, these are just all stocks that have hit my evening scanner, let's say within the last 6 to 8 weeks. I put them on the list for different reasons at different times. Not always watching every one of these, of course, but I like to curate how much data is coming into me at once. Another great day from FCell. Really great. And, you start to say, it had been in this downtrend and it was a lower low there, but did it build that base? To me, now it starts to build this base off this here. All right. We can even say it's just one wider swath of a base. Significant level. All right. When we get to the next level, all right, at around $10. And it's no accident that a lot of these levels are going to be around whole dollar numbers as well. So, psychological, we're all looking at the same data. We're all looking at the same thing. A lot of people, it's approaching 10. Should I get out? Should I get out? You're going to have your people that are only trading on different time frames. You're going to have people that are holding it from here, praying that the price gets somewhere back in here so that they can dump their shares and not take such a massive loss. So let's see, DRMA, tiny float H, phase 1 data drop. No float data. Nope. Let's take a look at this here. So obviously, for whatever reason, FactSet isn't reporting a float data, so neither are we. AH, so what we got here. Oh no, you said DMRA. Sorry, after hours. DRMA. Yeah, fairly new issue. So I'm guessing most of this volume was done right here in the after hours. Phase 1 data, you can see the trend is clearly lower on this since it's an IPO. Interesting all the same. There's not a lot of data here because it's a new issue. Float, short float, cash, doesn't trade options, has no reported revenue, any of those things. So, you're really going off an IPO chart on all that. Oh, no apology necessary. A long day for me here. So I just saw the capital letters of AH, and that's where my brain kind of went to. So yeah, no, that's no small move after hours. That's for sure. Um, look at that 1 minute volume right now. 19K, 5 minutes 27, 15 minutes 10, almost 11K. Now that's taking those time frames with the 10-day, 10 days broken down those time frames on average. So for what that's worth, all being kind of relative. So kind of massive there. Uh, well, it's not when we report the float on the IPOs. We have a data vendor that we go to that gives us our data. That being FactSet and NextCore or Nexus, whatever you prefer to call them. Those are two consolidated data feeds. So something like relative volume, we're pulling in the actual raw volume data. How many shares were traded given over certain time periods. So that's just raw data that gets reported. Everybody has that. But when they come into our servers, we do the magic on our servers to crunch it according to our algorithms and numbers to be able to put out a relative volume or 1 minute volume, things of that nature. So, that's our coding and our formulas that are involved in that versus, just a straight volume number is what everybody's going to have. FactSet and Nexus are two of the leading data providers in the entire world for the stock market. So, but unfortunately, they're not always perfect. We are working on internal ways to kind of get it updated quicker through them. And believe you me, whenever something doesn't look right from them, you better believe that some of our people are calling them right up or whatever they do to say, hey, what the hell is wrong with your data right now? So that's kind of how that goes for that. Kind of a cheap way to do an IPO hack is maybe use like a moving average for a filter. And if it doesn't have a moving average, on whatever time frame you decide, that's, how you can know something's an IPO. So let's see, what else do we have come through here? This is a SPAC, I believe, right? SPAC, am I right? Yeah. So something that's been interesting I've been watching. It doesn't have quite the volume I would have thought it would have for these big moves like this. But, still pretty liquid. 800,000 shares, doing 3 times normal volume today. Nice move right there. The thing you always got to watch, in these other days, I see this big wick that was there, and that's what kept me out. That starts to get out of what I like to trade when it starts doing things like that. But I enjoy the show, so I've left it on my list just for fun to kind of watch it. And uranium still having its days in the sun. I think there was some news about, I believe, France and the UK are going to jump back on the nuclear wagon for energy or something like that. I didn't really dig into it. I try not to read too much news. But I'd say we've cleared some really significant resistance here. And especially the fact that we came down and tested it on Friday and we gapped up today and kind of held it. There was a sell-off here at the end. A sell-off midday, and then we pulled right back up at the end to close pretty solid, 6% or so up on the day. So you can't really argue with that on an $8 stock. Not a whole lot of uranium plays out there anyways. And on a technical pattern look, we've got that. We got that. So is that a deep handle on that? Time will tell, but like I said, this is no happy accident here that this is such a significant line. Boom, 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 boom. So big time stuff right there as far as that goes. It has had quite a bit of run. Wouldn't be bad to see it maybe pull back into those moving averages again, pull back into this 8 EMA down here somewhere, and then watch it get a little push up as well. But things like that, when you have countries talking about moving nuclear over and trying to get the EU rules changed for nuclear energy being clean energy or however they classify it, all that stuff plays a really big role into whatever the stock's going to do. So hard to trade things like that, and especially looking back, just about a year to go from a sub-dollar stock to an $8 stock like that. That's it's a pretty good move. Zoom back in a little bit here. And then, energy still remains pretty top here, especially on my list. So, you got energy, 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 all pretty significant. There's some shipping. There's energy, 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 even if they're alt energies. So, energy, we need energy to make the world go round. Big deal, and all that. So, again, I know I'm rambling on here, but no real questions coming on. So, I'm kind of just diving around what's kind of interesting me. Market's close. We could take a jump back at the. Let's take a look at a SPY. And Steve came in Friday, did a little quick analysis here for us on his thoughts, kind of saying, feeling like there might be an all clear here, and definitely getting confirmation today. They tried to bring it down. Real nice move right up for the rest of the day. Got range bound for a while here, and then we made a slight move up at the close. So, we'll see what that means for tomorrow. It's definitely a significant level that we're coming to right here. All right. But that's the all-time highs. We're not far from it in time. We're not far from it in price. We're not far from it in distance. So, for whatever that's worth. I saw some interesting stuff come out over the weekend. JC Peretz with All-Star Charts, talking about how many stocks are actually in correction territory, how we've been range bound for so long, and that, you got all these people saying, so we're so due for all these corrections. And when you kind of start to look back on it, there's been corrections within all of this actually going on. Does that mean we're now back to marching right up? I don't know, but it's just interesting to note that, all this bear sentiment that's out there, it's going to happen. Well, there's actually been a lot of bear stuff that's been going on, without people even realizing it, just because these, big ETFs are sitting near those all-time highs. And take a look at the Qs now. All right. And now we can see here, Steve talking about, the 50 the other day on the Qs. Gap just about we gapped down again today just slightly here on them, and just off to the races afterwards with that. It closed right above it, and I mean that's a pros close right there, and if nothing else, almost a red bar ignore on the 15 to end the day for the Qs. So I think you're at this level, so now we're looking at 380 give or take here on the Qs as that next big one. Nope, I don't look at anything outside of TI other than Twitter, and Twitter's mostly for my entertainment purposes only. I pay attention to very few people on Twitter, or let me rephrase that. I pay attention to lots of people on Twitter, but for entertainment purposes. I like what JC does with a lot of charts, all-star charts, and he's kind of really it. Anybody else that's out there, I mean, I've got mad respect for a lot of people that are on Twitter that are, good names. Brian Shannon with Alpha Trends. Some people like that. I prefer the names that aren't really, they're never really, they're just talking about price action more than anything else than just individual charts all the time. And JC looks at a lot of like bigger picture charts and things like that. I like the way he does what he does personally. So it's kind of my 2 cents on that. But all the rest, it's all entertainment as far as I'm concerned. Other than us going over scans and how to build stuff, I'm no more than entertainment. I don't know any more than anybody else does, out there, as far as anybody sitting in their own computer chair as a retail trader. So, but the Qs, they look real strong here. Coming off this cross right here, 820 on the daily. And just kind of nice how you have the separation, real strong separation with that 20 and the 8 here on this intraday 15, and you see the same kind of thing here as they kind of closed in here on the 5, exploded back open, and then just kind of steady march right here between them. And that's something that indicates momentum when you start to get spacing here, all right, between moving averages. That indicates some momentum, some strength. So what I see there, diamonds just for fun. Couldn't get above there, couldn't stay above the close from Friday. But I think there's a lot less damage had been done in the diamonds, or the Dow, if you will. There's our all-time highs. Beautiful. Held that gap from the other day. This wick came down, but all the same, couldn't fill that. Looks strong. Looks real strong there again. News alerts? Nope, no news alerts. I use the same moving averages across the board. Um, the red, whether you're looking at my intraday charts or my daily chart, the red is an 8 EMA, the blue is a 20 SMA. This green one is a 50 SMA, and this black line is a position low of 20 days. So every 20 days, if there isn't a new high or low made within 20 days, this line will stay right where it is, basically. So now the low, if nothing changes, if 20 days went by and we went sideways, it'll come up to here the low. That's how that'll work. And if you ever wanted to have that as an indicator, if you right click the chart and you come to indicators and you're going to go to multi-period low, you'd enter 20 there, and that's what I'm using, multi-period low of 20. I like positioning 20-day ranges. That's just kind of my personal thing there. So let's jump back, look at a few ETFs here. Where's our market leadership coming from? Big day from shippers. Nice gap up, nice gap and go with the shippers there. All right, uranium, obviously. We've already kind of touched on that. We touched on LIT. You got your retail here, XRT. We'll see what happens. Are we going to have a Santa Claus rally, or are they going to be able to get things off these ships, these containers? I don't know. I don't know what to make of all that stuff. Is this just going to loop back down on this way? Are we going to get rejected here? Hard to say. Are we going this way in the short term? Are we going this way in the long term? Walmart always looks good. What does Walmart look like? Interesting. So about $12 off its all-time high, which is back here. I wonder, there must have been some kind of bad earnings or news to have that many down days like that and just get rocked. But zigzag back right up. So interesting with Walmart. Seems to be a significant line right there. Bounced right off it hard. Well off its 50 though. 50 looms above it. I wouldn't be surprised to see us work into that 50 and get rejected, would be my 2-cent guess as far as Walmart goes. And I think a lot of this is going to be tied now to the news. I don't know about where anybody else is. Where I am in the world right now in New York, there's some supermarkets here that they're empty again, like beginning of COVID empty. It's kind of weird. I don't really understand it. There's no panic in the stores. It's not like the streets are crazy or any sense of urgency. It's just shelves are empty. That's all there is to it. So very strange. I don't know what it looks like in other parts of the country, and I don't believe any news source. So I just look at what I've got in front of me. Home builders. I discussed that there might be some strength in those last week. Kind of still looks like it to me here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Oops, that's a wrong zoom in. Your other zoom in, Chris. There we go. I would throw out there maybe seeing that had been a double bottom. All right, move up. And we could call that, there. So we call this a higher low. I'm not sure. Someone might argue that was a lower low, or that was the higher low, and now this is a lower low. So arguments can be made for both cases. I would say that's kind of what we're looking at in the short term. Quite personally, we got above that 50-day moving average, and that's your lifetime high right there. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Personally, I see it two ways. I see it like this, or I can see it like this, and like this. That's kind of messy. Let's clean that up. I see it like this, and I see it like this. That's what I see it as. But again, as I always mention, I'm very biased to this type of pattern. I'm going to see it no matter what. It's what I want to see. So therefore, it is what I see. I'm aware of this at least. and leave that in the back of my brain when I'm making any kind of decisions here. Um, XME, got your metals, your mining. A lot of minor stocks have been coming through some of my scans lately. So that's reflected here in this indice, but I just don't think anything of gold and silver. And not surprisingly enough, they're down here at the bottom of things today again. So they just give me no reason to think anything otherwise right now. Um, and I can change my tone at any time, I suppose, but it's just not something that I feel I get a good handle on. So if you're someone that trades the precious metals, you like the precious metals, you might be seeing something here I'm not. I'm fully aware of that. Just this big downtrend, and it's hard to say, well, when is the downtrend broken? We've got a couple of weeks here that it's up, but has it run into resistance? Is it going to run out of steam? I would say maybe if we can hang around here above this level, the rest of this week, that might give me a bullish feeling back up to this 35 range, I would say, as far as gold goes. But silver, it's not far off of it, and your miners and your juniors, same thing. Just not a whole lot to look at from these things. So tan, some alternative energy, way off its lifetime high. So very, very range bound for so very long now. So, when we talk about, corrections and things like that, well, look, it was way back here, down here, and it's kind of just floundering around down here for a long time. It's quite a bit of time to go sideways right now. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in there as far as the tan goes. Very, very range bound. I'm going to need to break this level right here with some conviction in order to get through that. Sorry about that. An internal message. Someone asking what time I'd be sticking around to today. I've got about 5 more minutes before I'm out of here today. So that's kind of the rundown on these different indices here. I remain overall bullish here. XOP, it's given up quite a bit today from where it was earlier, I do believe. Yeah. But, no surprise with that big run up there. Again, these swathy patterns that I like to look at. That's how I see it right now. Obviously, I'd like to see it consolidate here, let this EMA catch it, and then push it up higher. That's a segue into UNG, which, it's had that big run up, kind of getting weak now. So I'd like to zoom in a little bit more on that, gives a better look on UNG. UNG is natural gas. And so, we make this great run up. Bounce here, bounce. So, up until this gap down and gap and go today, we could have made made an argument for lower highs. That kind of ruins it. Or higher lows. So you got that, you get this, and you get this, all right? But kind of breaks that trend. So we'll see what happens with all that. Martin, please help me set the price for any stock at $5 and up. We'll set it how in a scan. How are we looking to set it, Martin? Are you looking to set I'm guessing you're looking at a scan. So you'd come and decide what kind of scan you're looking at. So we got new. Are we looking at an alert window, or are we looking at a top list? If we're going to go with the top list here, we'll bring this up. All right, and that's a configure window. And we can come to the window specific filters, and price is already going to be a filter that's in there for us. And so we can look here, and right now it's set at a minimum of 1, but we put a minimum of 5, just like that. And you can do that with any scan, whether it's a top list or an alert window. Top list, it's only going to be these filters. Alert window, If we were looking at an alert window, here's an alert window. Go into the configure that. We also have the alerts, a selected alert. So you're gonna have to have that too. But price is always going to be a filter in any list. You don't have to add it in any scan. So you just you set your price right here, your minimum price and your maximum price. Well, if that helps you out there, Mr. Martin. And as I wind it down over the next minute and a half or so here, if there's any last second questions, please fire them away for me. And I will get right to those. And, one other thing I'd like to do here with this right now is span this out just to look in this position and range metric here. And let's widen this whole thing up so you can see the whole window. Can we get it big enough? No, we can't, but close. Not a whole lot going on here as far as, things that are really down on the year. All right. That's a lot more green when we look at that data like so on this column here. All right. So that's pretty significant to me as well. We'll see how that finishes up. But so far, moving into the close of the year, it's looking pretty strong. If you're wondering why these bars are full, it's because these started lower in the year than the previous year. So, for example, let's go to lit. And we can see, let's scroll back. So they had a lower point in the year. So they started up here. They started at the top of their range and then came down and then rebounded. So they had both a low and high position of the year, where some of these never had a low position of the year. So like if we come to, for example, XOP, it's just been up all year long. All right. So we come back to January here. You can see how it's just been up and never went negative on the year. And that's what that means in that bar for anybody that does not know that. You're welcome, Perfect Circle. Glad you found it interesting. Hope everybody else did as well. So, all right, I'm gonna call that a night here for me. Anything else? If you didn't get something answered, or you need something answered later, you think of info@trade-ideas.com. Send us an email there. Someone will get back to you in the after hours. And that will be a wrap on the day for me, folks. Thank you all for attending. Hope you found it informative. And we do this every day at 3:30 Eastern. So hopefully we'll see you back tomorrow. Thank you and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.